And I believe we are live.
Hello, day 2.
Woohoo! We are live here at the 2018 NAB Show. Day 2, can you believe that?
Making moves. One TV problem at a time. We're here with Dan Slider of xKeys, PI Engineering, actually.
Thank you. Two of my favorite people here. Jim, can you put a timer on this? I want to spend at least the first 5 minutes sucking up to these guys because they're like really nice.
It'll cost you $10.
Okay,
$10.
deal. It's a deal. We are showing off one of your cameras with our software. It's in proof of concept phase right now, but you were nice enough to help us out with a camera. We're trying to control 4 NDI cameras from a piece of software. And if we can get it rolling, that'd be really cool.
Oh, totally. And here we are in this exciting show. Tess was just on the Broadcast Beat show at NAB.
Super fun.
Really cool. We had Andrew Cross on yesterday, the CEO of NewTek and the chief architect of NDI. And now here we are on day 2, starting to kind of soak in this new industry. And I wanted to kind of fill everybody in on just some of the cool stuff we've been seeing around town. And I was wondering, Jim, if you could play our B-roll clip. Just some clips. I got some clips of Tess on the main stage, and I got some clips from all around the show. I just wanted to take you guys on a little tour, because I know a lot of our viewers weren't able to get here. And I just want to show you guys just some of the cool stuff that we've been seeing around here. So we'll cut to that now.
Roll. Keep going. Here it is.
Here we are.
You're good.
We're doing B-roll right now.
Okay.
Thank you. I need the chat.
Just let us know when we're back.
I brought this little guy along to talk about a little bit. We got a shot for it, so whenever you want it. Yeah. Here we are, going live soon.
Go live.
Woo! I'm gonna email back to the we're back. Just wanted to give you guys a little look at Tess on the main stage.
He's a father that's just so proud of his
It was just so great to see you
on
up
the
there.
spelling bee.
Tess was actually invited to be a guest on the Facebook Live official panel for the NAB show. So honestly, clearly, you're
Thanks, Dad.
making some waves in the industry. So it was like,
it was a lot of fun.
it was. I felt a little proud. So great work there. That looked great. I just wanted to show everybody that it really did happen. So here's Dan, one of our best friends in the industry. Tell us a little bit about xKeys.
xKeys, we're a computer control device, and we were happy to kind of fall into this live streaming market with you guys and with vMix, And now one of the things we're showing at the show now is that Wirecast has come out with an xKeys panel.
I should
which
go
you're
grab
using.
that.
Maybe we can do
I'm
that.
gonna do that.
In a minute, okay?
In a little bit, when we're ready.
So that's pretty cool. And we're, like I mentioned before, we're playing around with this NDI app. If we can get that going, we're very excited about that. We're always happy working with you guys. You guys are just a lot of fun to play with. And I personally try to catch all of your streams, but it's hard because you guys put out so much content. But I've got to tell you, and I think I've told you this before, Paul, I'm just so impressed with the ideas that you're constantly putting out. Like running...
He's an endless plethora of ideas, that man. It never stops.
Like, running trivia.
Yes.
For the contest. That's a brilliant idea.
Thank you.
Doing the tour of the NAB show was a great idea, a great way to bring people in. And other things that I've too numerous to mention. Every time Paul comes out with something, I go, why didn't I think of that? So that is very cool.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate
Monday
it.
mornings in our office after he's had a whole
Monday mornings is the time to sketch out the plans. We just have a wall of whiteboards and then checklists. But you know what it really comes down to is a great audience and a great community, and literally it becomes a bucket list. Comments
Really, my
coming
audio is
in,
out.
people telling us what they want to hear, and we just write them down and day by day check off what we got to check off. I don't know if maybe you got to get fresh batteries tests. I apologize if that's the case. But
step aside.
Let's talk about this HD15 wire interface. Is that the name of it?
Yes.
Okay.
We tried to come up with a
Sexy
longer
name.
name, but that's as far as we got.
It's the HD15.
It's the HD15 wire interface. I think there's a USB in there somewhere. But so this is like another xKeys. You can wire any switch into this thing. It's called HD15 because that's the connector on the end of it.
Yeah.
And you can wire any switch into this. And it'll accept up to 14 inputs and 2 digital outputs. So what this means is that in vMix, with an activator, you can trigger a relay. I don't know if you saw that in our Facebook user group. I made a little video, but Digital Loggers has an AC relay for like $35 that you can plug into our device. And then you could do things like turn these studio lights on and off. You could trigger a monitor, an amplifier.
This is what you were telling me about.
And it's just a great way to get some kind of AC
It basically
power
can
control.
turn up power.
Yeah, right out of vMix. And so you can program one of the buttons on an xKeys
Here I am.
to turn the lights on and off.
She's back.
So we're showing that in our little Lego newsroom studio in our booth.
Wow. So, Tess, this box actually allows you
curious about
to
this
have
box.
a button in vMix. You click that button, and it'll actually turn on a light, or a bubble machine, for goodness sake, or whatever.
Confetti
cannon.
Right.
Does that give you the ability to trigger that to happen?
Yeah, right in vMix. This
Right
is
from
the key.
vMix.
Wow.
Right from an xKeys.
So one of the things that I saw you playing around with, which I really like, is so here's this little studio, something that we're trying to use and make nice, and we get one of these, and now when we're live, the sign turns on.
Absolutely.
For example.
And
Things like that.
any activator in vMix. So if you wanted to tie that to your live stream or record function, whatever, you know how vMix activators work.
Yeah.
So you just.
Why don't you explain it though for the audience, for some people that may not know what that is?
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot, huh? vMix has a feature they call activators that they use to trigger things like tally lights. Well, they have a different feature for tally lights. Sorry. They can trigger indicators on our xKeys, so you can see which input is live, which input is in preview, and they're set up similar to vMix shortcuts. You can do the same thing with this device. So, for example, as Paul was saying, if you want an on-air light, you could just add an activator to your live stream function, and when it starts streaming, this will trigger the relay, and your on-air light will come on. And when you're done streaming and that streaming clicks off, vMix will trigger that activator off, and your on-air light will go off.
What
That's
a
really cool.
fun thing for, especially I'm thinking budget studios that want to, are starting to make money. They want to make it more interactive. One last thing to have to remember, and also lets people know that the studio's live.
And your
please be
producer
live.
can control the super chat triggers.
Yes.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah. That and,
do it.
and you know, a lot of people don't like to do the whole Wi-Fi plug, if then this, that thing. They want more control, you know, because that is a strange process that YouTube has put together for the confetti cannon launching. Although it is fun, this gives
Getting
you
a
a lot
lot
more
of
control.
the audio's too hot. Are you seeing it's too hot, Jim? Sorry about that.
Let's turn the
We
audio
need to be
down just a
quieter.
little.
Do we
They're
need-
saying that Dan sounds good.
Dan
Of
sounds
course.
good.
It must just be your vocals in
You
general.
have a beautiful voice, Dan. So how about you guys talk a little bit about the vMix reseller meetup? I'm going to run to the other side of our booth, and I'm going to grab those xKey controllers that I want to
I'm
show
sorry, Dan, that things are kind of just going crazy right
Hey,
now.
this is the first show, right?
No, this is the second show, but it's the first show of today, and we just got back to the booth, and things are a little bit crazy, but it all happens live, doesn't it?
So tonight is the Streaming Idiots meetup.
Yes,
right?
tonight is the Streaming Idiots meetup. We want you to come if you are, in fact, in Vegas. And if not, I think it's going to be live streamed.
Yeah, I understand they do have some segments going live with interviews and.
Do you have any little pitch you're going to do there or speech?
I hadn't even considered it. Now I've told you guys everything that I want to say, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I can talk about
stop.
the Australian cricket scandal.
What's that?
You'll have to ask Tim when he's on.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I will.
I'll leave it for
scared.
him. I
I would
don't want
love
to
to hear
give
about
that
that.
away. I would hate to do that to Tim. Ask him about.
Here's a question.
Yes.
Those new color wheels, everyone's talking about the new color wheels in vMix, allowing you to color correct. Is there any way or thought that you've thought of to maybe control those with a controller?
Oh.
Have you been thinking about
well,
that?
I
Talking
haven't
about
seen
it?
the feature yet.
Okay.
But that's going to be an interesting idea. That'll be fun looking into
Yeah,
that.
we got to look into that because I'm not exactly sure how that would
Do
work.
you guys
but
have the new vMix yet?
We don't.
See, we don't either,
but
so.
We're going to talk about
Jim
that
actually has a little clip from the vMix booth. Why don't we play that for everybody? Because I want to
Why don't
show
we wait
that.
for the vMix?
Well, actually, let's leave it for the vMix. Well, let's let Tim.
Let Tim do it.
Let's let Tim do
I'm
it.
trying to talk to Dan right now.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
By the way, it's important to know that we do love our freaking xKeys, and we
Yes.
use them every show. We have 3 of them. I like mine with my little hand-drawn buttons, but we also have our little faces that you print us.
Yes.
I mean, that's awesome. We have so
In
much
fact,
fun
look
with
at
them.
this, baby. Now, I love the way that you've laid this out, but this is a custom layout.
This actually was a collaboration between us and the people at Wirecast.
Nice.
So it's their design. It closely mimics.
Oh
Paul's doing the Wilson thing from Home Improvement,
I'm not
the guy looking over
surprised
the
here.
fence, right? So if you're familiar at all with Wirecast, this closely mimics their user interface. So anybody that's used it can sit right down at this and start punching buttons and understand what's happening.
It's about like the size of like a cheeseburger. Like if you just go to be a big, it's like a slice of pizza almost, like
Big
like a
cheeseburger.
Sicilian, like thick bread. No, I'm kidding. But
Strange
one of the
bird,
things
this
I
one.
love about the layout is you're providing. Now, are you going to provide these stickers so that people, if they wanted to do this, they can?
It will come out of the box exactly like you have
Nice.
it
With
in
these?
your hand with those
How
on.
do you do that?
We make those keys in-house, just like we
And you
made
put
your
them on
little
yourself,
face
huh?
keys, and we load it up.
Because
And
this is one thing, I'm so glad you did that. Because when you get a blank xKeys, the possibilities are limitless, but it's also like, when am I going to find the time to program all this stuff? So when you plug this in, that's all programmed?
yep,
Ah.
And
plug
it's
it in,
designed
plug
in
it.
a, what's the word I'm looking for?
In an intuitive, kind of traditional
Yeah.
way. And I just want to
A
explain this a little bit.
design of
for
where
the-
the buttons should be. Sometimes that's hard to decide.
That's
too. You're like,
hard to
whatever.
decide. And
Well,
I'm so
again, I
glad
think
you
it's
did it
because
this
it
way.
so closely resembles their user interface
Yes.
that it's intuitive.
It's
Because
familiar to
this
them.
is the user interface for those of you who
Are those
don't know
layers?
much about
Yeah.
Wirecast. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers?
Okay.
And then this button clears the layer. See, now Wirecast finally makes sense to me. I'm not gonna lie. Looking at it in this way, like a physical way as part as a screen, because the way that Wirecast really works is it's essentially 5 layers, and one goes on top of the other. So at any given time, you have 2 as your base layer, and then that one there, and that allows you to kind of switch. See, I didn't really ever understand that, and you have to like clear a layer if you don't want the layer on there.
Right.
So looking at it this way, I think, and especially if like these Wirecast gearboxes are going to like a school or a church or somewhere where there's going to be volunteers, having them understand this basic concept of layers and clearing layers and buttons. Now, I would say that the buttons are just numbered, so there might even have to be a cheat sheet down here.
Well, if you look in their user interface, you will see what those sources are.
Yes. You'll
And
be
as
able
you
to see
select
them.
as you select them, you can see them come up. So
And then
Really
there's
nice
a whole bunch
collaboration
more
there.
up here too.
yeah, they put in the 13 like macro keys, and then they have outputs up there.
What are
and
macros?
Transitions. So let's say you get your scene built up in Wirecast exactly how you want it. You can save that under a key, so you don't have to go back and manually program it again.
That is
So
key.
it's those
Like
are
a
these are like
virtual
like
input
scene,
or
like
something?
scenes
kind of like
kinda?
hotkeys.
Okay.
Like a
Okay.
scene.
Yeah,
a pre-built
scenes.
scene.
Yeah, I think that's what they call them in
'Cause
Wirecast.
like in
scenes.
vMix, I know we use the multi-view,
Right.
and so a single input might have like 4 or 5 different pieces
Right.
Yeah.
in a single one. That's that's Wirecast version of
And in
that.
vMix, it's another input, so you just
Yeah.
add it and take to it. Whereas
But in
Wirecast,
Wirecast, there's macros,
yep.
and that's actually more similar to what you see in like a TriCast or another
Yeah, I'm not
products,
familiar
I
with that one,
believe.
so I believe you.
So those are the
And then there are
macros.
outputs up in the corner.
These are outputs, huh?
Yep. NDI,
Oh.
streaming, recording.
Fade to black,
Oh, stream and record. I like those buttons.
mark
Yep.
in.
Hey,
oh, is
that's
that for
easy
instant
peasy.
replay?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Instant replay start.
So Wirecast has
Wow.
that feature?
Mm-hmm.
The instant replay feature? Nice.
Transition 1 and 2. You really thought this through, and I just think that taking the process of customizing this thing for the customers and having it built into Wirecast,
Yeah.
it's just going to make the user adoption that much easier.
Yep.
Paul, you should love this bad boy.
This, I'm
You're
so
loving the
glad you
super
brought
chat
this.
thing
I'm
right now?
already
Yeah.
like a fan of this. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to turn off and on.
Oh, you'll think of something.
Because it would be really cool if we did something where it was like there was a video that played and then a cannon went
How does
on
it
or
work?
something.
Yeah.
You
Is
know?
this a, like, it's like
So the reason it's
control?
called HD15 is that's the name of this connector.
Ah.
It's a 15-pin connector. It's kind of a
15-pin
common one.
connector.
And then these,
And then those ports are 3.5 millimeter ports that you can split out to have like 4 more switches.
okay.
So you
Very
played around with
cool.
their switch interface with a big button.
Yeah,
What would
it's
your
same
streaming?
idea.
I had a customer who wanted a big red button, you know, and I was like, I know you can do a big red button.
We were
I just got to figure out how.
talking about them yesterday with Miranda, how much
Yeah.
we love them.
That is a great product. Now with this, you also need a secondary thing that takes the 15 pins and turns it into a relay. Is that correct?
Well, you just need a 15-pin connector that you're going to wire.
Yes,
to
yes, I
something.
agree, Christopher.
Like hard. Okay.
Yeah,
Like you don't need to be like an electrician.
Couple
to do that?
questions for
No,
Dan when he's ready.
I can point you toward a connector that has screw terminals on it.
Okay.
So you can just, in fact, if you pop over to the booth next time, I'll show you how I did it.
Okay.
Nice.
We've got it going.
Couple things for you. Tom Willis tells me to tell you, Tess, please tell Dan I love him.
I love you too, Tommy.
All right. John says if someone uses the xKeys encoder board to build a custom controller, will it still be recognized the same way as an off-the-shelf product? Someone uses the xKeys encoder board to build a custom controller.
I assume he's talking about in
For
vMix.
wire.
In vMix it will be.
Oh, okay.
In vMix it will be. Okay. Daniel says, does the HD15 show up naturally in vMix, or do you have to use the software to map it out?
Naturally, it's integrated. Martin
Alright.
put it in.
Wonderful.
Yep.
That's awesome. Look at you collaborating with everyone.
We love people, what do you say? A lot of love.
That's right. You don't want to limit yourself either, so. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
so
you guys
tell
for
us
asking
where
me.
You're
your
gonna hang
booth
around
is and
next
where all your
one, right?
social media is and everything.
SL7406 is our booth. We're
South Lower.
South Lower over here. xkeys.com is our website. We have a Facebook
website.
page. We have a new xKeys user group.
I'm in
that
the
I think
user
you guys
group.
are in.
Yeah.
That's been a lot of fun throwing things around. We do Hidden Flap Friday where we pull up old products of ours that had secret messages on the hidden flaps.
Oh,
Every
that's
Friday
cool.
we show those
Oh.
off.
That's a fun
which
idea.
is kind of fun. We're going to run out sometime in May. I'll have to start making new ones, but you know.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dan. Should we do the giveaway as well?
Thanks, Dan. We're going to go ahead and do the giveaway while we're waiting for vMix. So how do I do that? I have to go over to the other
You
computer.
need your
and-
cell phone,
and call.
or yeah, you got to log on to
And-
Gleam.
and,
You
Mike
have
has
Gleam.
Mike has the wheel. I'm going to go pull the Gleam winner now.
So hang out in the chat. We are going to do the giveaway for you guys to see who's going to take home what in the chat for today's giveaway. We're doing a giveaway every day.
Great.
You know, that's sort of our thing. So are you going to hang out for the next stream?
I will hang
Okay,
out and I'll
good.
watch Tim. Are we out yet? Are we still out?
We're still on because we're
Oh.
going to roll on to the next stream. We're not stopping. Mostly for convenience sake, I'll tell you that, because I wasn't about to, schedule a whole nother stream 4 days a week.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes you just got to do what works.
And there's so much going on here, you won't have any trouble.
Yeah. By the way, if you are here at NAB, you're going to want to stop at Dan's booth because they have this awesome kick butt Lego display that you guys are kind of famous for.
The QTPI newsroom. Yeah.
Okay, QTPI newsroom. Any new features to that we should know?
Yes.
For
Well, I
people who've
added
seen
this HD15 so that you can trigger the set lights on and off with it, just to show that.
All right. That's just enough of a reason, Michael, that we can use this thing because it could turn off our studio lights, right?
Absolutely.
Because we're climbing up to the ceiling to turn off the lights, and it's a heck of it's a task. So I'm seeing uses now already, so that's good. Hey Kyle, happy birthday! Kyle Gunderman is here, and Chris Zanowitz? Is it Zanowitz? Zions. I always mispronounce your last name. So for you in the chat, we have some of our faves with us, names that you will recognize, and it's so fun to be able to see them with us today.
You're not doing the trivia then, right?
No, we're not
Kyle's
doing
here,
trivia.
So Kyle can't win today.
Don't worry, guys. Kyle is here, and he can't win trivia today because we're not doing it, but it is his birthday, so I would be happy if he won a chance to spin a wheel. So he's like 28 now?
You watch, though, with the streaming idiots Meetup later, there's a raffle. Mm-hmm. Watch who's going to win the big prize.
You think Kyle's going to take home I just want a t-shirt. A vMix tee. I try to convince him to sell them. But Thomas says, tell Kyle he can't win.
There you go.
What app are you using for the wheel? What app are we using, Michael, for the wheel?
Oh, we're using one second. Here it is.
I'll tell you that in 1 second. Hey, Pocket Video School, Jason.
Spin the wheel.
Spin.
Like spin and then D-A.
Spin da wheel.
Spin the all
Get that out
Spin
of here.
D-A. Oh, spin D-A wheel. Spin to wheel.
I love sitting on xKeys. It's just a comfortable cushion when I sit
Kyle
on my
is not
xKeys.
in the chat. Kyle, you're the talk of the town.
So
Hey,
Mike
Kenny.
Trout is our winner.
John. Oh, Mike Trout is our winner?
Yeah.
All right, so
Awesome.
Paul just ran the gleam. Mike Trout is the winner. If you are here in the chat, pull up Facebook, Paul. Do you have your cell phone with you?
Yes, I do.
Pull up Facebook and see if Mike Trout is in the chat.
Get it all down and.
There's going to be a little bit of lag here.
All right, we're waiting for you, Mike, and we have vMix
He's on
Mike
Facebook, Chris?
Jackson.
Yeah, I'm getting out of here to make room for Tim.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan.
I'll take your mic for you.
Oh, and we'll hang out
I mean,
tonight. We're
all
going to
right,
have fun.
Looking forward to seeing you.
Throw so much stuff on there.
Okay.
And it's like,
Thank
they're like,
you.
oh, I've got a producer now. I'm like,
Is
oh,
he
no.
on
Right.
Facebook,
I feel
Chris?
sorry for what he's got to.
Is he on Facebook? Mike Trout?
Oh, he's here.
Oh, Mike's here.
All right, Mike's here.
Oh, Kyle's on Facebook. I see.
We actually have Chris Zanowitz, Kyle Gunderman, and Kenny Hampton here as well in person, which is even better.
Oh my gosh! Hi, Kenny. Nice to meet you too.
Thanks for joining.
We'll chat
guys.
a little bit. It's so fun to be able to meet some people in person that you've only spoken to virtually and
Yeah,
in
it
the
was
chat. So I
amazing.
love meeting everybody here, and I hope I miss everybody in the chat at home. Wish you could be here with us. Uh-oh! Look who just showed up into town.
Hello.
Did you spin the wheel?
Oh, Mike, can you set a
Sorry,
highlight
we're running
reel
around with our
on
heads cut
YouTube?
off at this point.
Is it
and
fun?
Jim,
I remember
can you
doing a
remove the lower
live stream
third?
at these things, and
We've had it up long
It's
enough.
a little
we've never done one again.
So you learned from that experience.
Oh, Martin's here.
I'd like to think so. Yeah, that's why I thought he was coming around.
Uh-oh.
Thank you so much for coming on. Do you want to come on?
So we were
There you go.
able to pay Martin a large sum of money
Yeah, we had
and
Is this on your Facebook
gonna
page?
show up on the show
Should
today.
I share this on our Facebook page?
Yes.
share it.
So,
So are you live the whole time? Are you
just
running?
1 hour.
Okay.
Just 1 hour, so it's kind of a mixed. In fact, I was thinking what would be really fun is that we have a B-roll clip that we took from your booth.
Yeah.
Did you
So,
spin the wheel,
yeah.
Mike? Yeah, spin the wheel for
Oh, we have to spin it for the web.
Sorry guys, a little disorganized here, but live streaming, right? NAB
It's the best.
can be a little hectic.
I ran over here, so
You literally
that's my
ran?
exercise for the day. Yeah. I had
Running
no
from
idea what
live
was happening.
At least the audience gets to
Okay,
see the
so here's
in-between
our wheel that we're gonna
guest
spin.
appearance.
Oh, virtual wheel,
Crap.
excellent.
Virtual wheel, here it goes.
We're still spinning the
This
wheel
is
for a
from Mike
giveaway.
Trout, who won the Udemy classes and a vMix mouse pad.
Yeah.
There's a new edition of that.
The
So
vMix
I'm
mouse pad's
very
amazing.
excited.
I'm going to share this on our page.
Please do.
This is live. I feel
Martin,
live
thank you for
social
coming
media.
over.
What I wanted to start with, Jim, if you don't mind, is we have some B-roll from the vMix booth. Can we play that and just kind of let us know when it's on? I just wanted to show the color wheel, just to kind of get people a
It's
visual.
not on camera, the color wheel.
No, I got it on camera.
Tim?
Is that okay?
No.
Oh,
Tim?
don't play it. Don't
We've
play
been
it.
embargoed.
Don't play it. Sorry, I
think
thought
I'm sharing this
I
to
thought
the
on
right
Monday
We can talk
it was
about
on-
it
we
as
can talk
much
about
as
it,
you
but you
like.
don't want to show it anywhere? Okay, do not show
That
that
is so
clip. Sorry,
classic.
sorry.
I didn't know that you
I
also
can't
took
share it.
videos.
No, I
I'll
went and
tell
took
you.
videos of it. I thought that was okay to show once it was released, but it's not released yet.
Tim specifically
Sorry.
said no. Oh my gosh.
Okay, don't show the.
You blame it on me. Don't blame it on me.
Communication, well, well,
Okay.
maybe you're just a messenger of that. But
So let's
that's
talk
your
about
decision.
what it
You can
is.
talk about
We're
it.
not going to show it to them.
First
It's
off,
for
hello,
watching
we
the-
have vMix here with us. The
Hello.
men, the myth, the legends. We
Hey, you
have
don't have
Tim
someone
and
pointing
Martin.
at the cameras.
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
We have tally lights.
Yeah, it's always good.
Helpful. And they are here at NAB, located in South Hall Lower. If you're here, see them at, what's the booth number again?
4620.
4620, so make sure you stop by. They've got some pretty cool stuff they're sharing and introducing this year at NAB, and let's get into that. What's
Yeah.
new, guys?
Take it away. That's you. You
Me?
can talk about it.
You're the boss man, right?
I'm just here to look pretty. It's you.
You're just the eye candy?
Yeah. You can talk about it. That's your job, right?
All right. I was just here to fill a seat, but
Yeah,
anyway.
right.
Yeah, so we're demoing at our booth this year, NAB 21. So it's not yet released, but we're demoing it for the first time just to shake things up a bit. In previous years, we would have released it prior to NAB, and everybody already knew what was in vMix, so they'd come by the booth and say, what's new? And we'd say, well, you know, nothing's new. But now we have something new and exclusive to talk about. That's the whole point of doing this. And the first new feature is professional color correction features. It's similar to how grading and color correction is done in, say, video editing applications such as from Blackmagic or Adobe. Anybody that's familiar with grading film will immediately feel at home with the new color correction features in vMix. Allows you to do color matching, you know, so you can have cameras from different vendors, such as from PTZOptics matched with
You wouldn't use other cameras. You'd only use PTZOptics.
You'd only use PTZOptics,
No,
but
but,
sometimes,
yeah.
you know, they need a third camera and they dig it out of somebody's bag and they find it's not PTZOptics.
I'm excited about that because we can maybe do some knowledge-based articles on how to perfectly match our cameras to ones that you do use, you know, with your production. So excited for that.
Yeah, and it also has the professional video monitoring tools that we're adding in, such as waveform monitor and Vectorscope, which are very useful, you know, because everybody, if you're color grading to your eyes, everybody's view of colors is slightly different.
Especially Paul's.
So if you use these professional tools, you'll know exactly with precision if the cameras are matching with each other. So that's the new color grading feature, and the other major new feature is we've got independent streaming control support now. So we support 3 destinations. Now you can turn them on or off, and you can even configure them live. So if you started streaming on YouTube Live and you go, oh, I forgot to set up Facebook, you can do that. In our Fun Time Live show last month, we did like a 30-second ad to our Facebook Live page, and we used that feature to do
That's a great
just
case
that.
Someone said it's
like
a
that.
stream shout out. So you could do a shout out for 30 seconds to somewhere and get them over to your main platform and then come back
creative-
into
I
whatever.
love it.
Great way to use that.
Interesting
We
way
were
of
just talking, I
doing that.
heard rumors about that, and Tess and I were talking about a use case where a lot of people are thinking about moving over to Twitch a little bit, and they're not sure, you know, they're building audiences on YouTube and Facebook, but they're thinking about, well, maybe I'd like to go on Twitch, and it seems like the way to be successful on Twitch, just some of the conversations I've had, is to be exclusive to Twitch.
Yeah,
in
it's a
some
part of
ways.
their main. From what I've heard, the main partnership. If you're a formal partner, you can only live stream to them. You can put VODs and stuff to other locations. But yeah, it's
All your live content must go there, or just that show or segment?
I assume that you couldn't simulcast it. Yeah, so it would just be one location for that one.
So
Yeah.
what we were thinking is if we do our normal show on YouTube and Facebook, there might be like an exclusive one just for Twitch, and we'd want to turn off YouTube and Facebook and then turn on Twitch in like the same vMix setup.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Everyone's excited in the chat.
That is really, so that's huge, and that's not even like, I mean, it's a big deal. That's great.
Well, it's handy because I know that yeah, we won't get into it, but your YouTube video about vertical streaming is the way to go, and everybody had that huge argument on your YouTube chat. Yeah, so we've added like vertical streaming
really?
and square streaming as well. So you can go 9:16,
Yes, I
and you
didn't
can
know
go
that.
1:1 square as well. So people on Facebook, corporate gigs want to go solely square. So you'll be able to do that. So you could go widescreen to say YouTube, but then you could go square to Facebook if you wanted to.
Yeah.
That's really
Different-
cool.
Oh my gosh.
So
At the same time?
yeah. So you could go so you could go widescreen to one location, square to another location, and then 9:16 to another location if you wanted to, with the 3 like independent
I'm
streams.
so glad you're doing that. And I have a question. It's a little off topic, but I'm just going to throw it at you.
I've
I
had enough
apologize,
questions already.
But I get
Yeah.
this all the time.
What's your
People
favorite,
always want to know, is there any way to go to Instagram?
No,
Not at this time.
no, it's just not possible. The API
Okay.
isn't open for live
Okay.
video
Sorry.
ingestion.
That's what I figured.
I know everyone does ask it, and we get emails pretty much daily saying
Asking
when.
about that?
Our
Yeah.
understanding is Instagram is for the personalized streaming platform because it's owned by Facebook. Facebook is for professional streams. They're trying to segment the market.
They're differentiating there.
For different
Yeah.
purposes. They don't want people bringing their full professional equipment to Instagram. They want it all more personalized. That's how it's been
That's where you're
explained.
supposed to show some like private sphere of
Yeah.
behind
Yeah, I
the
think
scenes
so,
thing.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Wow.
like that.
Okay, so that's actually the 3 big ones then, and that we've been always wanting to be able to turn off and on YouTube and Facebook. For example, on YouTube we might want to do a pre-show
Yeah.
because we can edit it off, but on Facebook you can't. We want to boost the Facebook content, so we want that start time to be just perfect.
Yeah.
So that's just great to be able to do that.
Or if something goes horribly wrong, or I don't know.
Which never happens in live streaming.
No,
ever.
I mean-
Speaking of which, we added a new feature that allows you to disable Windows updates. So when you've got vMix open, you can turn off vMix updates so your computer doesn't die. So we've had people they're like, why is my CPU and why is my bandwidth all of a sudden used up? It's because they're running Windows Update in the background. They don't realize, because you know how it does it all in the background?
Automatically. Yeah.
So there's a tick box now to turn that off, because I had an experience with the live streaming pros where the computer was doing Windows updates. You hit stream and the whole thing just shut down. So we added a tick box now so people won't blow up their computers while they're doing it, which seems to be a common thing. It seems to happen quite a bit. So that's another thing we
Can
added.
we talk, I appreciate the color correction demonstration that you gave me, but you mentioned 2 new tools that I think I would say most of us is fairly new: the Vectorscope and what was the other
Waveform
one?
monitor.
The waveform monitor. When would you use one versus the other?
So a vectorscope is like a circle that represents the color of the image. So it's like an XY plot of colors. So you have towards the top, you have red. Towards the bottom, I believe, is cyan. Towards this direction, maybe is green. It's a sort of a circular representation of all the colors in the image, similar to the color wheel that you might find in a color correction software, such as what is coming up in vMix. So that allows you to see the balance of your colors. So if you put a color chart up to it, what the color chart will do is it'll put lines towards these various color directions. So if you have yellow on that image, it'll have a line pointing to the yellow. And so you can quickly see in a vectorscope, oh, that line is not pointing towards yellow, it's pointing more towards red.
It's off.
And that's your sign that you need to shift the image more towards yellow to, basically turn the color back in the direction that it's supposed to go. So that's what I mean by, without using your eyes, you can just use a technical monitor to determine where the colors go. So that works how you can work out the colors. The waveform monitor is the counterpart to that for brightness and exposure. So you can see with a waveform monitor, you can see if it's clipping at the top or if the blacks are getting crushed. And that'll allow you to adjust, preferably in camera first, to get a good exposure on that. And then once you've got it within the lines, you can do the final touch up in vMix to put it at perfect black and perfect white. So those tools are why we've added them in. We couldn't just add color correction. We needed to give operators the tools to be able to do it accurately.
Yeah, it was something new to me. I had never seen it represented in that way, and I love how you can look at a side-by-side view.
Yeah.
So you can look at the camera you're looking at and the vectorscope, or you can look at just the camera. And then I love how you have an on-off tick. So you can make all of these changes and be like, where did I start here, and turn it off? Okay, I like the way the changes that I've made. Can you explain to me, so before we used to use a lot of the black stretch. I know that's kind of similar, but now instead of it being just left to right dial, you've now got a full wheel.
Yeah, so we have 3 wheels. As is in most color correction programs, they represent the blacks or the shadows, also called lift, and then you have gain or gamma, in the middle, also known as midtones, and then the third control will adjust the highlights or the gain. So they all adjust a particular portion of the image. So you have the dark areas in one wheel, the middle areas, which are usually skin tones in the middle wheel, and then the final wheel is for the highlights, the brightness, overall brightness of the image. So using those 3 different components, it allows you to do very accurate color correction, because you can find certain sensors and certain cameras where the highlights are yellowy, but the rest of the image is pretty well balanced. So you can use the gain control just to adjust the yellows in the highlights. So yeah, anybody that's familiar with
Wow.
color correction will immediately be at home with these 3 color wheels. So.
It sounds like for people that are familiar, it's going to be really great. Now, for people that aren't familiar, it sounds like Tim has a lot of work on his plate to do some video tutorials.
Well, that's
yeah.
it's a great thing, because we've made it similar to all the other color grading tools out there. There's lots of tutorials out there on how to grade film, and they can just translate that knowledge of all those videos directly to live.
It'll be a familiar interface.
Yeah.
With those adjustments. Quite a few questions from the chat here. Of course, everyone's excited to see you guys here. Chad says, have Martin and Tim had a chance to test vMix against a reference unit of Hades Canyon? Not sure what that
So we get this a lot.
The NUC.
Intel has announced the new NUC that has. It's a weird combination. Intel announced they're using AMD graphics.
Yes.
You know, hell froze over, and they've released this new system called Hades Canyon. And everybody's asking, well, what's the performance like with vMix? Well, we know as much as anybody else, because you can't buy them just yet. They've announced it, they've released it, but you can't actually buy it in the shops. As soon as you can, as soon as we can get a hold of one in Australia, we will put it through its paces.
Wonderful. Great. Programs on demand says, can the option to disable Windows Update be in the next update?
Yeah, so it's coming up in vMix 21. So this release that we're talking about now, we'll be releasing the beta on our Funtime Live show probably in a couple of weeks' time.
Nice. Perfect. John says, how will NDI 3.5 affect vMix? Will it just work, or will changes be needed in vMix?
So I guess it's a well-kept secret. It wasn't intentional. vMix 20, the latest update, already has 3.5. So we've already been there for the last few months.
Wow.
There's a couple of things we need to turn on in the streaming, but the actual protocol, 99% of it's already there in vMix.
There you go. Easy enough.
And we forgot to mention, we'll have Zcam control in 21 as well.
Oh yes, thank you for
How
doing
come
that.
we have
the
not?
Zoom.
Duh.
Yeah, that would have been a good question.
That was what I was going to lead with, but you know.
Yeah, but we brought up other stuff.
Yeah, that's all right. And if you work out the focus thing, we could probably organise that too. But anyway,
Yes. No, we're working on we're working on a focus.
It's not us.
It's not vMix.
Yeah.
Matt Davis is working on something there, and that should allow one of my favorite new features in the PTZOptics cameras is that we have focus control on presets.
Yeah.
So you can do focus pulls without actually doing pan tilt zoom controls. And I just see that being so powerful in vMix to have a visual representation of a person in focus, and then a secondary preset that would change just the focus.
Just adds that depth of field instantly like that. Yeah. Cool.
So I see that being really powerful. I have to say, guys, one of the things that I really love about the NAB show is that when you guys save your big features for the NAB show. So there's thousands of people that are using vMix that are probably thinking, is this going to change the way my video production works? How is this going to add more functionality? And for us, we're thinking, wow, the ability to turn off and on streams, that's a pretty big deal.
Do you want to talk about this one
the
too?
color correcting is a pretty big deal.
Okay, yeah.
You
So
try and
every
cover different things. Like I personally don't care about color correction, but people out there are really fervently. They really care about color correction.
I remember data sources when you brought that out, and I was like, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I don't need that. And then we ended up doing an entire show called the Streaming Awards, where we were tallying,
Couldn't
just
have done it without
sources
it.
from all these people 24/7,
Yeah.
and we were streaming, and all these people were voting, and the votes were calculating. And I was like, this feature's amazing. But so it's like some of these features I think you're building in, and then
we got data source
now
happy.
I'm like, I want to know what they are because I feel like I want to use them all if I can. Color correction for us is a big deal. And one of the things I wanted to mention about that the final feature that I didn't talk about is the presets. So what Martin's done is the ability to save a preset. And so I'm not 100% sure how we'll do this, but essentially, if someone has a Sony camera or a Panasonic and they want to color match it to a PTZOptics, we could potentially have a vMix preset saved that they could upload as a starting point.
Yeah, exactly. So you could create a preset that adjusts the color to match another camera and then save that as a file and then import that into vMix. It's a separate preset, so it's not the overall vMix preset, it's an additional option just for colors. It won't get you 100% there because everybody's exposure in their scene, but as long as you set it to a particular white balance, they'll just only have to tweak it to get it all matched up. But speaking of all these features, one of the questions that came through was, well, what's the upgrade going to cost to vMix 21? Now, if you've got vMix 20 right now, the upgrade is going to be free, so no extra charge for all of these new features. So yeah,
Well, then that's a great answer.
Crazy. That's an amazing answer.
Another thing that I wanted to mention, it's been 2 years since we've had PTZOptics camera control in vMix.
Yes.
Today. April
Really?
10, 2016
It's such a game changer. Such a game
was
changer.
today. So we released vMix 17, I think.
Yep,
That's what
So
it
it's
was.
our
NDI
anniversary,
and
guys.
vMix
MD.
It's the 2-year anniversary. I was going to jump out of a cake, but
Oh,
I
darn.
couldn't afford what NAB were charging for jumping out of a cake.
vMix.
So.
Is that a PT-versary?
It is
Yeah,
a PT
it's
anniversary.
PTZoversary. So we're trying to coin all of the PTZ names. Like, we don't want you to steal them all. So we had the PT Symphony, and now we've got the PTZ anniversary.
I really
So-
enjoyed that.
I'm
That was
surprised I was the
hilarious.
first one to do it. I totally expected you to have like 40 of them lined up and making them.
I have an idea. I've had an idea that we've been working on for a long time that's never come to light, but yeah. It's similar.
It
How
took
have we
me
not
far
done
too
that
long
before?
to do it.
I know,
never want to
it's
go
too
through that
good.
again.
It was too good.
Never, ever again. Oh, I bought you some shirts too.
Yeah.
So I bought you a shirt.
I've been
They're-
talking about this
They're a little bit dodgy,
forever.
but they're alright.
Oh, thank
There's some
you.
vMix shirts. So there's our.
You know I'm gonna rock this tonight.
So hopefully I don't have to
100%.
explain what the shirt means.
Right.
But hopefully you kind of get
Yeah,
that it's
that could be
live.
tough to-
It's live streaming, and he's
Oh,
on a
duh.
stream.
That's hilarious.
He's alive.
So yeah,
That's hilarious, guys.
So
Thank you
that's
so
amazing.
much.
they're a little bit. I don't have women's sizes. Sorry, they're kind of. Those T-shirts came in a giant box,
I'll
and there's like
cherish
small
it.
and yeah,
The,
Thank you
there's
so
a bunch
much.
of different things.
You
I've been
mentioned the
begging for one
PTZ
for
control,
months.
and Michael, our producer, doesn't even want to use our joysticks. He just wants to use all the presets in vMix, and because it's just he's in the software in his production.
Yeah.
So to move the camera, he just likes it more either on the xKeys or just through vMix than just using a joystick, which you think you'd want to use the joystick. But the camera color correction, I think, is going to open up so many doors because I don't know if we're not allowed to show it, but if you have to come to the booth to see it. But the first time I've
Or
ever
their show
seen
soon.
a Vectorscope where you can see if your camera's actually clipping. So this is actually a feature where we can get more out of the sensors of our cameras, essentially.
Yeah,
By
it'll tell
making
you if you're
sure-
clipping and allow you to bring down the range of the camera. One of the key things is some people will do the exposure in camera. And so the highlights will already be blown out before they come into vMix. Well, now you can make sure that you're not crushing the blacks and you're not overexposing the whites in camera and do the final, stretch it to the perfect white and the perfect black from the vMix end.
I can't wait to get home to our studio once we have that.
Yeah, like this is just such a game changer for us because we're just what we've been using is black stretch. We try to get them all to a good point and then use the black stretch. I've heard a lot of people using that in vMix just to color match.
Yeah.
This is the proper solution for that, and having the Vectorscope, which I was talking to a couple people about Vectorscopes, and nobody wants to buy a real Vectorscope.
Oh my goodness.
And like what? In line with your SDI cable to get into vMix, like that was not.
Well, here's the
realistic.
thing. This is the NAB show. So this is the National Association of Broadcasters. There's probably literally 60 companies at this show that sell a vector waveform monitor or of some description. So now we have, if you don't want to do live streaming and you just want a live Vectorscope waveform monitor, you can buy vMix for $60. It includes the waveform monitor and Vectorscope. Try to get that from any of the
That's
other
hilarious.
hundreds of monitoring companies at this show. So I hope
my
I hope I don't anger 100 companies simultaneously. But
Yeah, you
yeah.
might have a little bit,
You
but that's
could do
okay.
that.
It's just the truth.
Wow.
I keep getting this question over and over. Is there any chance of getting PTZ control with NDI protocol?
So the NDI protocol has PTZ control for, say, NDI HX cameras at the moment, and you can control that using their free studio monitor tool. But it doesn't support absolute positioning control, which is what we use in vMix to create all of our presets. So it's just purely for getting the camera into position. You need to use the other protocol. But fortunately, all the NDI HX cameras that have been released, including the brand new Lumens announcement this week, we have support for connecting to them, and they're already on the IP network. So really, it's we save the IP address of all HX cameras in the PTZ tabs. All you have to do is choose the provider and click connect.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So
that actually, I
works
had
for
to come
us.
check with you about that because I was like, am I seeing something here? So when you select an NDI HX camera in vMix and you connect to it and you go to the PTZ tab, the IP address is already there. I was actually troubleshooting because sometimes when you're looking for a bunch of IP addresses, you don't even know which camera's which unless you're really organized. So I'm using vMix as a camera finder because you can see a picture of what the camera's outputting, which made my life so much easier. Click it, and then the IP address pops right in. So that was really smart. That really, it makes it so much simpler. And the difference between absolute control, which you use, and relative control, which is what NDI is using, is important because relative control just tells you which way you move based on where you are now. And what vMix needs to use for actually having set presets is an absolute.
well, yeah,
control.
it needs to ask the camera, where are you? And the camera needs to be able to send
Where
back
am I? Yeah.
exact coordinates so we can tell it in the future to go back to those coordinates. So that's a missing piece of the puzzle. I mean, we've put the feature suggestion out there into NDI, so they know about it. It's just a matter of their timeline and roadmap. I hope at some time in the near future they'll have that control, and that'll just mean you won't have to click connect anymore. It'll already be ready to go.
Wow. So when will this be available to everybody in the chat?
The beta will be announced on our next Funtime Live show, whenever that is.
So I think it's like, I'm going to say April sometime, probably
Within
the
the month.
25th, I think.
right.
Are you back in Australia by then?
yeah, I come back the day before.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So, yeah, it was, I think it's
That'll
the
be
25th.
exciting.
It'll be
which
our
is
zombie
24th
episode.
American. You guys are in the past, so it's 25th our time, I think. So, whenever that is in the US.
People are going to be anxiously awaiting that. Okay, let's see what else we have here.
Can I ask you guys about the Skype announcement with NDI?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? And just whatever you want to say, but I just from the market perspective, from the awareness perspective, you guys were mentioned in the press release by Microsoft.
Yeah, so we're very excited to work with Microsoft to bring NDI support into their product. I mean, we didn't do anything. We just said, hey, wouldn't it be great if NDI was in the product? And they sort of ran with it. So the way it works is, as you know, like for broadcast, they have Skype TX, and that's the solution they recommend for broadcasters and big TV stations. But they've seen a huge increase in gamers and games and streams on Facebook and people using vMix, and they wanted to bring Skype to those customers as well. So in their first update release, it's currently in preview, so you can't get it just yet, but when it's released, you will be able to see as NDI sources in vMix or any other NDI-enabled application the calls that you currently have in progress. So if you have a group call in Skype, each of those individual callers will show up as an NDI source in vMix, including audio. So that's a very exciting way for those that are using Skype to bring it directly into vMix using NDI. Now, of course, the other aspect of it is the return feed. So New Tech has announced NDI Virtual Input that's going to be coming out shortly after NAB. It's now free. They used to charge for it. And it's a tool that allows you to convert any NDI video or audio source on your network, such as the vMix output, into a webcam. So that's the other piece of the puzzle, to bring that into Skype. And then you've got the NDI out. But for the first release of it, they've just done the NDI output because that was the hardest part. People using desktop capture, they were cropping the screen. You move the Skype window around and it all gets, the person's head gets cut off. So they wanted to solve that problem first and foremost. The other piece of the puzzle is bringing in the virtual input. The last piece of the puzzle, which is pretty unique in vMix, is mix minus. You want to be able to send an audio feed to Skype that's excluding the caller, and you can use one of the buses in vMix to do that, and we're hoping to make that more streamlined by working with Skype over the next few months in the future.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But everyone's asking where you can get it. As far as I know, you may be able to find it in the Insiders preview, but for now, they've announced it, and it'll be available in the next Skype update for Windows and Mac, I believe. So you can even use your old Mac books and Mac systems to run the Skype calls. But yeah.
Because we were just talking to Andrew Cross yesterday, just sitting right here, and he said that he probably will never have a larger NDI release in history. Now it's possible that there might be something, but that's like 100.
They might be
Yeah, the
taking
user
the
base for
world.
Skype is massive.
It's just massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you remember, was it last year? I mean, time flies with NDI releases that they announced the Adobe integration of
year, I think,
NDI. So that was like an install footprint of like 1 million
Yeah,
users,
that
because
was incredible.
everybody has Adobe Premiere or Adobe Photoshop or After Effects. And so he was very excited about getting 1 million installs of NDI.
Yeah.
And now with Skype, it's probably in the billions.
Yeah.
So
You think it's in the billions?
It would, Skype has a pretty huge reach, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So when they all get up to date, they'll all be
Yeah.
1 billion NDI installs potentially.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's just incredible. I can't wait to hear, because it's still so new, it's not even available yet, what that means for you guys. I mean billions of people are now going to be looking for NDI solutions. I mean, and as you said, there's still some return video things that need to be taken care of, mix minus. If you might want to think about creating a tutorial on that, but it's just great, and I'm just so happy for everyone involved. I think it was vMix, Wirecast, and XSplit that were all mentioned in this Microsoft blog post, and they didn't even mention the TriCaster.
Yeah, because this was like their content creators release. It was for the everyman podcaster and gamer.
Software stuff, yeah.
I like that.
And so, they don't no longer have to buy a Skype TX box to bring in Skype callers to their games or into their
The podcasts or shows or whatever they're doing, yeah.
Well,
We're not going to lose vMix call, right? They're worried.
No, that's still there.
Yeah.
That's still there because vMix Call has the built-in mix minus and up to 8 callers, and you don't need to install Skype. You can use any browser or iPhone to do it. But Skype works really well in certain countries where internet's very congested. I mean, they've spent decades, fine-tuning Skype. It's hard to compete with that. So if they've got a struggling internet connection, now they have an option to use with NDI as well.
And if someone drops by the booth, we have Skype swag at the moment.
I think it's all run out. We might have a few left.
Bummer.
Oh, no.
We had power banks and like mobile phone things that go on the back. And,
Wow.
but they got snapped up pretty quick, so yeah.
And we have mouse pads in a booth for now. If you're watching this stream in your hotel, come on down if you haven't got a mouse pad. They'll probably be gone by the end of the day
I
tomorrow.
think we've
This
gone
ones are
through
like
about
gold.
350 now.
Wow.
In
Yeah,
two-
Kyle
in a
has
day
like
and
a
half.
collection going of those.
Oh, all right. Okay.
He's
I'm going to
got
sell them on
last year's
eBay.
edition.
Oh, yeah.
So fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking
Thank
the
you,
time.
guys.
I'm really excited, not just about the NDI stuff, but just the new features. I mean, those seem small. I don't know if some people might think about that, but to me, the color correction is just humongous. And the turning off and on the stream.
I know it's going to benefit us.
We have been talking about that for a long time. I remember when it used to be all 3 streams had to be the same bit rate, and you allowed for variable bit rates to change those. But this is even better to be able to toggle those. So just great stuff. Absolutely great.
We'll all be anxiously awaiting the next vMix Fun Time show.
Yeah,
It's going to be a hoot. It's going to be a real...
Now, let's quickly mention the party tonight, because I want to just, pack in as many people as we can over there.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
there's a
Tom's
party.
worried that there's going to be some fire code issues with the amount of people that are crammed in there. So anyway, yeah,
We're going to have to get a bigger location next year,
I think
probably.
so, yeah.
Especially with all the Microsoft podcasters coming out, but Skype podcasters. But it's going to be at the Podworks event. You go to the Streaming Idiots group on Facebook. It's officially the Streaming Idiots Eastern Shore Broadcasting Meetup.
Well, you're a sponsor, aren't you?
We're a
sponsor.
Yeah, so there's everybody's got their involved in it. So I'm going to be there. So if that's a good thing, come on. If it's not, then stay at home. But
King has other
Oh wait, we
I
forgot to
will-
ask you.
I will
What
be
was
there.
the thing with cricket? There was a. Can you tell us about
Dan-
that?
oh,
Dan told us about it.
Dan, man, the Australian cricket scene is currently under threat, and there's huge scandals all the way through it. So
Yes, the
Australian
scandal, the
captain
cricket scandal.
went on TV. They cheated. The Australian cricket team cheated, and it's a national disgrace. But I won't get too far into it because we could spend an hour on cricket if you guys want to do a cricket live stream. But yeah, it's a national disgrace at the moment. So that's all. That's
If
all
you
I've got
want
to
to
say.
learn more about the National
Yeah.
Cricket Disgrace,
Send me an email.
Send an email to Tim
Yeah.
or come to the party
Yeah.
tonight, and we'll discuss it all over a beer.
It'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. I
No
appreciate
worries.
your time.
Thanks
We'll
for
see you
having us.
tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Take care. Thanks a lot. Let's get one quick picture, guys, together.
Sure.
Tim's up for a picture.